now, even more so, our job is really to be problem solvers. Hey, what's going on, guys? D-Rat here. I wanted to reiterate what we talked about on the morning mindset call on Thursday. We were all going through some trying times. There's a lot of uncertainty out there in the world, let alone with our business in real estate. And yet the question I have is, what is our business? What is our job truly? A lot of people will say our job is to sell houses, and yes, that is true. However, our main job is to lead generate. Every day we should be lead generating and finding people who have a home to sell. And now, even more so, our job is really to be problem solvers. People have a problem. People who really need to sell their home right now have a problem due to social distancing and being quarantined. People who have to buy a home have an issue because they can't get into the properties that they may be interested in buying because people are refusing to do open houses and don't want showing. So as real estate agents, we really have to put our creative hat on to figure out how are we going to make it through this new era of real estate. I don't know how long this is going to take effect, if it's going to be for 2 weeks or 2 months or a year. I do not know. However, what I do know is that if we aren't working, if we aren't out there doing our job, how long can we survive if we don't do the work, if we aren't putting contracts together? And even bigger than that, when you think about our jobs as real estate agents, yeah, if we put a deal together, we get paid. Have you thought about the other people who get paid based on what we do? So we have listing brokers, we have buyer brokers, we have mortgage lenders, we have appraisers, we have home inspectors, home stagers, photographers, right? Landscapers, contracts, pool inspectors, tank sweepers, septic inspectors. All these people count on us to continue to do our job so that they can also have a livelihood. So we can't stop. We can't stop. So what I want to say in the message is we have to continue to lead generate every day. All of us are home, and I know it can be a bit disruptive, especially if we have kids at home that are doing homework. We have to find a way to operate in that new normal. And so we have to continue to time block and do our one thing, which is lead generating and finding people. And the biggest thing that I've been hearing lately from a lot of agents that I talk to is that they just don't feel comfortable calling people during this time. They feel like it's actually insensitive to call someone and say, hey, do you need to sell your house? And I understand that. And I think that there's a way that we can handle it where we're coming from contribution. As an example, I don't know where you guys are located. If you're in New Jersey, Bergen County, Sussex, Passaic, another state, I don't know. However, I'm sure just like here, if you pull up Zillow, for instance, and you just take a look at the for sale by owners, in Bergen County, there are over 100 for sale by owners actively still selling their house. And what's interesting to me is at a time when I thought I would see a lot of those listings being removed, I've actually seen new properties come on the market. So what is that telling you? What it says to me is that if anyone's going to take the time to put their house on the market as a for sale by owner right now, during all that we're going through, they actually have to sell their home. They have a problem though, and it's a problem that we can help them solve. How do they market their property, expose their property, and give people access to their home so that they can actually sell it? That's something we can help them with, and if we come from contribution and we can solve that problem for them, we can create listings. And I've talked to people, Nikki and Ira and Aaron. There are people that are out there right now going on appointments and getting listings. Sometimes they're going live and they have to pre-qualify differently now. Part of the pre-qualification question is everyone in your household healthy? Right? We want to start asking those questions before we get together with anyone. And so if you're going to go live and talk to someone, make sure that you pre-qualify them. The standard pre-qualification, if you meet with me and you like what I have to say, you feel confident that I can get the job done, do you plan on hiring me? That's one part of pre-qualifying. The other part is, are you guys healthy? Before you go out, you want to make sure of that. And so people are getting business. The question is, will you? Well, if you're just sitting at home watching Netflix and people are reporting that Netflix speeds are really slow right now because everybody's on it, be one of the people who are doing your job. Get on the phone, call people. We know they're at home. We know they probably need a break from reality, so talking to you is probably a nice break. And if they have a true reason for selling their home, they're going to talk to you. And then we have to start embracing how we're going to help these people. So moving forward, We can do listing presentations online. We have the technology. We can use Zoom or a platform like Zoom to sit down with the seller and have a conversation, and we can share our screen and share our listing presentation and go over comps with them virtually. It does not have to be done in person. Same with the buyer for a buyer consultation. We don't have to meet them in person. We can actually meet with them virtually to start the process. And when they commit to working with us, then we can also send them the paperwork virtually where they can sign off on it. So there's ways that we can solve this problem. And I just want to encourage you guys, even if people aren't interested in putting their house on the market right now, you have to understand why they may feel that way. It doesn't mean that in April or May or June, they won't be ready. And if you're one of the agents that turned the TV off and picked your phone up and did your one thing, did your job, and you made the phone call, you sent a thank you letter, you stayed in touch, you followed up, when they're ready, they're going to call you. You're going to get the opportunity because during this time, you actually didn't stop doing the income producing activities. You kept up with it and you continued to do your job day in and day out. So if I can encourage you guys to do one thing, time block. Have several things time blocked on your calendar. Every day you still want to role play. My advice is that you guys role play via Zoom so that you can get to learn these platforms that we're going to be operating on. We are going to be using Zoom for the foreseeable future. You need to know it, so start using that during your role play. Then get on the phone, do your lead generation. After you lead generate, have your time to service. So send out thank you notes, send out emails, and then get on the phone and do follow-up. People that you've been trying to get a hold of, people that are pretty serious about getting their home sold, do your follow-up calls to them. And then once a day, what if you chose 5 people in your sphere of influence and you just called them to check on them? How are you doing? How are things going with work? And when you ask them about work, they're going to ask you, well, how are things going with real estate? Well, what if you said, it's interesting that you asked, things are going great because we have found a way to use technologies to help sellers and buyers who are still interested in buying property right now. If you know of anybody who's looking to buy or sell, I'd like to speak with them and show them what we're doing differently in today's market to deal with the COVID-19, right? We need to be able to talk about that. So I feel like I've been talking a lot. I actually want to go shoot some pictures of these old abandoned sheds and barns and houses. So I'm going to go do my thing. You guys go do your thing. Get on the phones. People are there. They're at home. They're going to be happy to hear from you. And if they're not ready, just keep in mind, it's follow-up. Follow-up is key. That's how we get our business. Not initially on the first call. Maybe call 5 or 10 or 15. This is our job. Continue to do the income-producing activities. You will be better for it. Thanks for your time. Bye. Hey guys, before you go, I just wanted to let you know that I do have a podcast. I actually have 2. The first one is called Push, Becoming the Coach I Needed. And over my years in real estate, I have learned a lot, especially about time blocking, lead generating, prospecting, and follow-up that I like to share in this podcast. The episodes are short, 3 to 6 minutes. It can be found on iTunes and Spotify, Google Music, and Anchor. So I would encourage you to check out that podcast. I have another podcast called Scotch and Scripts, where I actually talk about my love for Scotch, and I like to interview agents. And during those interviews, we talk about what they're doing in their daily lives to be successful. So I have a lot of episodes that you can check on Spotify and YouTube from last year. And season 2 is actually coming, season 2 of Scotch and Scripts, where we're going to do more interviews with agents that are having success in the Push program and also just having success in their everyday business. I'm going to talk to them about what they're doing so they can share that with you and use that as inspiration, because if they can do it, so can you. And these agents are willing to talk with me and share some of their strategies for having success in business. So thank you guys for your time. Again, check out the podcast.